Key point 1. Different relationships for different generations. Our grandparents' generation married when they were 20 years old. They lived together for 60 years, raised 3 children, rarely quarreled, and loved each other until death. How did they do it? And why is it so difficult for our generation to find a soulmate and carry love through life? We constantly search, communicate, fall in love, quarrel, and part to start all over again. Raised on the stories of our grandparents about love from school and the only person for life, we tend to believe in the existence of fate and expect to meet that very person. But often, people suddenly find themselves 35 and lonely. We should have already married, started families, had children, and lived happily ever after. What's wrong with us? The institution of marriage has changed over the last century. Today, we remain in the dating and relationship stage for many years. Our grandparents did not have this stage. They almost immediately moved from acquaintance to marriage. They didn't have to share common interests or personalities. Over their years of marriage, they learned to adjust to each other and avoid conflicts. For them, divorce was not an option. Unlike previous generations today, we clearly understand that if our marriage has outlived its usefulness, we can always get a divorce. And we usually do so, because we have an infinite number of options with whom we could share life. We are more demanding of our partners, more selective, and less tolerant because we know we can try everything again with another person. We could meet them on the internet. They could be of any race, nationality, sex, gender, status, age, or profession. We have a vast selection. It is our advantage and our curse. Key point 2. Dating sites have changed our lives. In the first half of the 20th century, couples mostly met through the efforts of their parents. Before the couple got married, the following happened. Their parents looked for the right person among their acquaintances. They went to woo the parents of the future bride or groom. They discussed all the details and requirements. Shortly before the wedding, they arranged the first meeting of the future spouses. About 20% of people met their future halves through mutual friends. 10% of young boys and girls met at church, interest group meetings, or work. A minority of people made romantic acquaintances in college. At that time, access to higher education was a rare luxury. In the 1990s, this situation changed. Families began to take a more hands-off part in offspring marriages. Almost half of the young couples met through friends, in companies, or on holidays. In the 2000s, the baton passed to online dating. By 2010, almost half of all married Americans had begun dating through sites. Online dating has become extremely popular. Its success lies in choosing among those who also picked you. You no longer need to muster up the courage to approach a person on the street who may not be interested in communication. Algorithms and filtering in dating apps do most of the work for you and serve up the ideal candidates on a silver platter. Unsurprisingly, the launch of the famous Tinder app in 2012 made a splash. Today, if you own a smartphone, you're carrying a 24/7 singles bar in your pocket. Aziz Ansari. For most Americans and Europeans, dating sites brought relief and comfort. But for a particular category of people, they became a saving breath of fresh air. In some countries and cultures, religion strongly influences secular life and determines its rules. For example, young men and women in Qatar cannot communicate on the street or spend time together. A young girl caught flirting is considered disgraced. Dating and chat apps have allowed Qataris to escape oppressive social rules. Snapchat is especially successful because it instantly and automatically deletes messages and photos while maintaining users' privacy. Key point 3. Try to fix it before you replace it. Previous generations started families at an earlier age. They had other criteria for choosing a partner, which were much narrower than ours. As a rule, they created families with their neighbors, matched by sex, age, and status. In short, men were supposed to provide housing and go to work, and girls were to be good housewives and healthy enough to endure and give birth to offspring. They often knew each other rather superficially when they married, and yet many of them lived in perfect harmony for many decades. Today we choose from a wide variety of different people. We often refuse to continue a relationship because of some misunderstanding. We don't give people repeat chances or put in the effort to understand someone who doesn't seem interesting enough on the first date. Why? We consider it a waste of time. Our generation follows the idea of a perfect partner who will suit us at first glance. The abundance of choices relaxed us and made us lazy. For past generations, the list of options for potential partners was much shorter than ours. When they met the right person and agreed to connect their lives, they learned patience, forgiveness, and understanding, worked on themselves, and helped each other grow. They understood that they were bound together and had to find a common language. The things that really make us fall for someone are their deeper, more unique qualities, and usually those only come out during sustained interactions. Aziz Ansari. Today, we are less inclined to work on improving existing relationships. When difficulties arise, we often decide to part and seek happiness elsewhere. The World Wide Web has given us the confidence that there is always a better option than the one we have chosen. The bigger the choice, the less satisfied we are. There is a familiar story about a journalist who once asked an elderly couple how they managed to keep their family together for 60 years. The couple replied, "We lived in a time when broken things were fixed, not thrown away." Key point 4. Japanese people never date Argentines. Dating and marriage vary wildly from country to country. Of course, this strongly depends on the population's culture, religion, mentality, and temperament. For clarity, consider two opposing countries, Japan and Argentina. In Japan, there is little interest in sex and relationships, to the extent that the state has to intervene by allocating money for dating and family programs. There are particular services and sites for organizing dates funded by the state. According to surveys, about half of young people in Japan are not in a relationship and are not interested in sex. There is an opinion that this is due to the country's economic deterioration. People have to work harder, which takes time and effort. Men feel insecure due to a lack of money or not having the most successful career. They are embarrassed to show interest in women because they fear rejection. Meanwhile, women are becoming more financially independent and have good career opportunities. They are annoyed by indecisive men who are too afraid to hurt their egos by being rejected. Japan has an interesting way of group dating. The guy invites his friends, the girl calls hers, and everyone exchanges numbers. In Japan, the sex industry and so-called relationship replacement services are very developed. Single people go to particular establishments and pay for members of the opposite sex to drink with them, listen, hug, and give a pat on the head. People are buying a safe space that mimics intimate relationships. Also, prostitution is widespread and accepted in Japan. In addition, the demand for sex toys for self-satisfaction is very high. These are ways to avoid closeness with real people for fear of opening up and trusting. The situation in Argentina is strikingly different. Buenos Aires oozes with sexual energy. Men quickly get acquainted with women on the streets, aggressively court, and even shout depraved phrases at them. They have a hard time accepting rejection. If this seems blatant impudence or even a crime for tourists, local women, as a rule, come into play. Its policy is known to both parties. No commitment, passion, swiftness and transience of relationships, superficiality. Argentines perceive quick and meaningless interactions as fun. Interestingly, even those in a serious relationship do not refuse flirting and affairs on the side. It is their way to maintain their interest in life, feel desirable and beautiful, and be in good shape. Key point 5. Social networks add temptations to our lives. We meet attractive people all the time. Sometimes we see them in public places, but we often see them on our phone screens. Social media is the perfect platform to showcase yourself at your best and makes it very easy to watch someone you like. On Instagram, we often follow ideal people with their extraordinary lives. Involuntarily, we compare ourselves with them. not considering that the broadcast picture does not always reflect reality, which undermines our self-confidence. However, low self-esteem is not the only danger of social media. Social networks have allowed us to meet people from other cities, countries, and continents. You can flirt with the help of likes or reactions to stories. Commenting with a compliment may indicate the seriousness of your intentions, and some consider the publication of joint images as an open statement of partners' rights to each other. Of course, the active maintenance of social networks complicates parting. Firstly, if you often post photos with your partner, then after breaking up, you will probably want to delete or hide them because you don't want to see them. Besides, you will need to notify your followers that you and your partner are no longer together. We can become hostages to the habit of reporting our personal lives on social media. Secondly, most people try, often in vain, to stop spying on their ex and checking updates on their pages. All this interferes with the separation and can significantly increase the mourning period for unfinished relationships. There are other problems as well. Social networks have created a new field for intrigues, flirting on the side and cheating. It is much easier to arrange a secret meeting through private messages than face-to-face. On the other hand, betrayal captured in correspondence is more likely to be exposed by a suspecting partner. The smile on your face while you are typing a message may cause your partner to ask questions. Due to mistrust in a couple, partners can secretly view messages on each other's phones, which invariably leads to conflicts. In any case, the best strategy here is frankness. Did you know? The French are the most tolerant of betrayals and cheat more often than people of other nationalities. More than half of the population does not consider adultery immoral. Key point 6. Think about what you're looking for in love. There are two kinds of love, passionate and companionate, and the first, over time, flows into the second. Both of them have advantages and disadvantages. Passionate love covers us headlong at the beginning of a relationship and includes inspiration and euphoria. This stage lasts from 1 to 3 years. While we love passionately, our bodies release joy and adrenaline hormones. We become more emotional, impulsive, and sensitive. Quarrels with a loved one seem like the end of the world. Moments of unity are absolute happiness. Then everything slowly subsides. Feelings for a partner take a different form. Companionate love comes into play. It is similar to what we feel for our family members. We are calm, predictable, comfortable, and relaxed with them. When passion passes, respect, mutual understanding, care, and friendship prevail in good relations. We know what to expect from our partner, their preferences, weaknesses, fears, and needs. Companionate love is a creative feeling and an excellent foundation for family creation. However, some people find companionate love boring. They are afraid of routine and strive to experience passion all their lives. Therefore, they prefer to change partners, often to feel inspired by falling in love repeatedly. Understanding and accepting that there is no correct universal solution in life and love is essential. We must find a relationship format that suits our partners and us. It is crucial to remember that the meaning of love is not a social status and not a tribute to traditions, but personal happiness. Someone feels complete only in a couple and appreciates the opportunity to develop patience, generosity, and devotion in a long and robust monogamous relationship. These people get to know themselves and shape their lives and personalities through the prism of close, trusting interactions with a loved one. They are ready to invest in the long-term preservation of marriage and the prosperity of their family. Another type prefers short romances, passionate intrigues, and constant love. It is their way of exploring the world, enjoying its diverse and inexhaustible beauty, and keeping alive the zest for life. There is a third type of people who prefer to be alone. For them, solitude is the most comfortable and productive way of life. All of the above are equivalent options for the norm. Only you know what you need to be a happy person. Conclusion. Marriage and relationships have undergone significant changes over the past century. Unlike previous generations, People today are less likely to be guided by material needs, societal expectations, or traditional precepts when entering marriage and relationships. Nowadays, the main thing we want from our personal lives is love, happiness, and well-being. A few decades ago, people married at a very young age, moving from the parental home into family life. Their parents chose a couple for them. Their future partner had to live nearby and fit in age, health, and status. Today, we are much more conscientious and exacting in our choice of partner. We are not just looking for the right person, but our soulmate. Thanks to the development of technology, our horizons go far beyond the boundaries of our region, city, and country. The internet has shown us the big picture and unlimited choices. It simplifies and complicates our tasks at the same time. Unlike previous generations who strove to save their marriages at all costs and were more willing to adapt to their partners, we are more likely to break off relationships when something goes wrong and try to build new ones. However, the main advantage of our time is freedom. We can decide what is good for us and what makes us happy. There is no beaten track for our generation. We can be faithful to one relationship, have several partners, or prefer to be alone. It's our choice, and only we are responsible for it. Try this. Talk to your older relatives about their marriage, dating history, and relationships. Read the book on love by Stendhal. Watch the TV series Scenes from a Marriage by Ingmar Bergman.